Okay, good morning, everyone. It's Big Charles here, right in the middle of the UK heat wave. So I'm making a video today because I've got an event on Saturday, and there's a load of new crisis that I haven't really looked at or haven't really gone through. So I went ahead and put a little presentation together to think through some of the changes that I think are relevant. So let's go through that together. I'm gonna think through the crisis and then I'm gonna put together a list, and then maybe afterwards, if people want to hear about it, I'll let you guys know how I did at the weekend. So, finally explaining going through the new crisis. Uh, one of the things I wanted to start with was just looking back at the old crisis. Um, once this loads. We obviously had 12 previously. This is all the old ones. And some of the relevant things that I wanted to point out was the VP total. So the maximum number of points you can score from one of these crises. On the secure previously, we only had one secure that could score five, and we had two that could score three VP per round, meaning that it was pretty much you're always going to be getting four VP from your secures. If you had a really good round, you dazed your entire enemy team, you'd be getting four VP. That might not be the case in the new crisis. And then on the extract side, there were a handful that would get you 5 VP, often through bonuses. Obviously, we had stackable extracts with cubes and hammers. They're all gone now. And we had senators as a 6 VP as the most you could score. So we'll see how that band shifts as well. I had one, two, three, four, five that were above 4 VP. And then in terms of threat levels, obviously, I think quite a few people have spoken about this before, but there were no 16s on the extract side, meaning that if you managed to pick, you could have no 16s in your own list, and then if you landed on your secures and your opponent's extracts, you could always dodge 16. That won't be the case anymore either. So we're thinking about the VP total, we're thinking about the threat level, and then the other thing I want to look at is the median threat, or the mode threat. The most common threat was 17 on both sides. And then the VP total average 3.9 on the secure side, 4.25. So you're scoring slightly more on the extract side. So if you wanted to be a scoring team, scoring the extracts was more important. And if you wanted to go slowly, getting a slow extract was going to be what helped you slow the game down. When we scroll over to the new secures, this is some analysis that I've done. There's a few things that we want to be thinking about. The number of pay to flips has increased by one. So power is going to be a little bit more of a factor in this crisis split. The threat totals over here, we can see the number of 16s has gone down, the number of 20s has gone up, and everything is more clustered around 15. So 15 is still the most common threat you're going to see. But the game is going to be potentially on 20 threat more often and on 16 threat slightly less often. I had a lovely list with a strong 16, and I could run three 16s in my list with a pretty high chance of being able to get that. That won't be the case anymore. And then the max VPs you can get, we've got now one, two, three that are on three VPs. So the secure side is getting slightly slower. And then the number that you can score five on the secure side is actually much higher. You've got one, two, three, most of which with bonuses and scoundrels. So there's actually more of a range now on secures, which I think is going to be really interesting. And that might mean that that becomes the difference maker. If you want to score fast, having secure control is going to be more important. And if you want to score slow, again, having that secure control when you pull from prio is going to be more important as well. So main takeaways here, the threat values looks mostly the same. 17 is going to be most common, 20 threat next most common. The VP delta is spread a bit more, and pay to flips are slightly more common. On the extract side, we've now got a 16, but the spread very much looks the same. We've got 17 is the most common, and 20 is the least most common. We've obviously got sources now, so 4 out of 12 are sources where you have to pay power to pick them up each round, which is going to again make power management much more interesting, especially if you're on a scoring team and you're trying to close the game out in 3 or 4 rounds. Having a surplus of power is going to be really important. We see the same number samples, spider infected and senators. So we lost cubes. We've lost one of the five VP deltas ones. So extracts are slowing down slightly. But if you're playing a fast team, you can still run these three. And as long as you're playing, a couple of dives and some safe grab senator tech, you should be fine. And then we actually do have some slower extracts here with experimental soldiers and alien ship, which is good to see. There's again more of a spread. So I think on both secures and extracts, what we're seeing is a slightly wider VP delta, and then 17 and 20 being more common than ever before, as well as the need for more power. If we actually look at the shapes, this was something else that I found really interesting. When we're looking at the secures, the shape by slow, medium, or fast. I've just clustered these. You might have a different opinion on how these should look, but the shapes are really interesting, especially when we go over to the extract side. So for slow ones, you're looking at fairly tight boxes. So guns that can reach across your range fours and hit multiple points and control multiple points is going to be a big deal. We've got this I think it's Survivors, is this slightly narrower C shape, which is going to be a really interesting one to see come up. And then if I'm categorizing by the amount of risk for standing on the midline, how many other points can see you when you're standing on the midline, how far away from your deployment you are, there's a high risk on a lot of these. And then lockdown, you can sit fairly far back, so that's fairly safe for round one at least. So this is just a categorization of your round one threat. It's really high for secures on the slow side of things, and then pretty balanced for the rest. If you want to score fast, you still have to get up there, but it's, you can sit back a little bit. There's less points on the midline. And then the medium threat ones, there's actually only a couple of points on the midline. And so they're fairly spread. So I actually think where most of the games can exist in this medium range bracket, these are the polarizing ends that we're not going to see as often. Most of the game on the skewers, you're going to be able to have some safe pieces, maybe just plinking a couple of shots or rotating here or there. We can also see that the medium is actually pulled quite far away from the middle. There's not much going on in the middle anymore, meaning that if you're playing a medium speed, it's actually likely that the game is going to develop into two fights, one on either side. So being able to rotate and flank deny or just win both fights is probably going to be quite important as well. This is where most of the game is going to be. And then if you're forcing the game to be slow, which I think I want to do, if you're forcing the game to be slow, you're going to have to, be able to shoot quite effectively. When we flick over to the extracts, something really interesting becomes really clear very quickly. On the slow side, everything is right on that midline. So really high midline threat. On the medium side, we've got a general cluster. There's a couple that are hanging back a bit. I think this might be Jailbreak has now got the really far back sources, but everything else is fairly clustered in there. And then the fast ones are quite spread out. So if you're playing fast, when we're thinking about the secures, we want to be able to flank deny and rotate. When we're thinking about the extracts, we want to be able to rotate as well. No sources on fast ones. So fast teams are likely to be mobile, grabbing points and rotating around, running away quite a lot. And then most of the game is going to be played here. This is where we see one, two, three of our sources in the middle of the game. So again, this is where most of the game is going to be played. We're almost at a 50-50 for the medium speed extracts, being source or regular extracts. So power is going to be super important. And then if you're playing slow, there is so much midline opportunity for fighting. If you can get your opponent onto one of these three, you have a really good chance of getting some round one dazes, which can massively change the game if you're playing a slow team. You get round one daze, you get round two KO, and then you can remove, a lot of actions from your enemy team's side. So what does it all mean? The average VP per round in total is 3.91 plus 4.25, shifting slightly faster on the secures and slightly slower on the extracts. But the actual VP per round total is, across all the crises is averaging pretty much the same. So on average, the games will be mostly the same. Most missions are 4 VP on extracts, 4 VP on secures, but the polarized edges will be a lot slower. So slow and slow missions. So if you get a slow extract and a slow secure, you'll probably only average 3 VP total each for you and your opponent, meaning that you can expect the games to go 6 rounds, scoring out on round six. So having some endurance, some recovery, healing is going to be a really big deal. Midline extract pressure and safe grabs are really important now. I've had some success playing quite a lot of dives where I'm trying to get one of my opponent's extracts. I don't think that's going to be as useful anymore. I think it's going to be more important to just be able to really pressure that midline because most teams, most crises will force your enemy to get up onto the midline. Number of pay to flips and sources. Pay to flips increased by about 20%, going from 4 to 5, so 41% of missions on this side, and then your sources are going from 0 to 4, so 33% of missions are now requiring extra power every round from your sources. So the total power demand from different crises is 16% where you only had 4 out of 24 pay to flips in the old world, up to 9 out of 24, 37%. So pay to flips are going to be so important. So power is going to be a big, big bottleneck, and we need to make sure that we have a surplus of it. So, what does this mean for list building? I am going to flip over to Jarvis now, and we will just put together a little list. So I'm going to keep these side by side so I can remember which crises I said were slow and fast. I want to play slow because I'm kind of thinking I want to smash stuff with Mortal Hulk and see how that does. So let's start off with just these three slow ones. So we want to play Alien Ship, we want to play um, Experimental Soldiers, and we want to play the couch missions, salvaged supplies, where you need two people to pick it up. Um, that's making me think I might want some couch tech quite early, which might mean a lockjaw or something like that. But we'll see what that means when that comes around. And then if I'm looking at these, I want to just pick whatever is going to have really high midline threat so that I can punch my opponent straight away. So I'm not super familiar with all of these. So Surprise Assault. This is a source. This gives, is this the extra dice one? No. Mm-mm-mm. It's a source. I think this could be quite fun, so I'm going to put it in. It's 16 threat as well, which I've got some strong teams in mind for that. And then I'm just quickly glancing, can I force any more 16s? It's only the one. So what threats am I looking at? 18, 18, 17, 19. So I've got one of every threat at the moment, so I could put in just a 20 and then I'm fully spread. And I think Scrolls or Senators are probably my go-to. Scrolls is still in that slow category for me, and you have the chance of being kidnapped. Plus, if I'm playing Midnight Suns, I've got quite a few models that can grab this one or say grab either side. So I think that's quite a good idea for me. So that's my extracts rounded out. And then if I go and look at my secures, um, this is where things will change actually a bit for me because I think I'm not going to benefit that much in a gun-based world. I want to be able to rotate around. So I actually want to pick these five. I'm going to go for a mid-range. He's going to mean I need to do pay to flips though, which I hate. So, wedding party I can play because that's super far apart and it's two missions, 2 points, and I-Hulk can do really well on that. Um, Survivors, I think I can rotate between these quite effectively, and if I have a Doctor Strange in the middle, that should be GG. So let's get Survivors in there. And then Lockdown, I probably don't want to play, even though it's a good Doctor Strange mission. And Meteors, I think I can play quite well. So let's get Meteors in. And then if I'm playing Lockdown, the thing is, I think I can play that well, but I think a Strange plus Blue Marvel or a pair of Sentinels can kind of dominate that quite effectively. We'll put it in, and I might regret putting it in. And then I'm just looking for, again, mid-range, whatever's going to be the highest potential for threat. I actually think Infinity can be quite good because I can rotate away from my enemy. Even though it's a really good Kingpin secure, I can rotate away from my enemy, and the extra power can be quite nice if I do end up on a source as well. So if I have that as my 10 missions, I've got lots of midline threat. I'm leaning on 20s, so I've got 320s in my list, so I need a strong 20. And I've got a couple of 17s, three 17s, and then two 18s. So I need to plan for 17 and 20 most. So I've said I want to do Midnight Suns. I'm vibing with them at the moment. I think the mobility is going to be a big deal. And the ability to use Siege and get extra attacks off, I think is also going to be quite good. So if I go to Midnight Suns, I'm going to want Blade. I'm going to want Doctor Strange. Voodoo, I feel like is going to be less good now. People are dropping sources every round, but he's still in there. I think Iron Fist is really, really strong to deal with kaijus. If there's an Adam Warlock, I can just activate him once, and then he goes from, say, across a 4 round game, he goes from attacking once on round one, and then twice on round two, then twice on round three, then twice on round four. He goes from having 7 attacks -2 from being activated, and if I can push him away, then he only gets 4 attacks down from 7. So I can roughly half his damage output with Iron Fist, which is huge. I like Moon Knight. He's very good vibes. I think the guns across the ranges are going to be good. Stealth is going to be good. And his Spender, I think, is super slept on. I think something like 80% of the game is size 2. So even though this is only a size 2 push, most of the time my enemy will have to put a size 2 on a secure somewhere. And a move, bump, and then a push off can be easy VP. Mummy, great gun, good push, tanky character. I like him. Man Thing has some pushes, has some mobility and some position fixing, which can win the game. So he's going to be in. I said I wanted to play Eye-Hulk in case I get on a wedding party or something like that. So he's in the list. And then I have two slots left over. I am mostly leaning on the power of my three threats here. I don't really want to bring a two. I think if I get another four threat in, I can cover that. Voodoo is fine. So let's have a look now at what I can splash. Obviously, I could put Zemo in as a long range three threat, but I don't really want another three threat. I want a four. So let's see who we could put in. Oh, the other Midnight Suns characters, by the way, not good for the game plan that I'm going for. Black Cat staggers are nice, but I don't want I want damage. Black Panther, long mover, pushes. That's one to consider. Um, Having a look. Carnage, I really like for the anti-crit tech. He's got a lot of health and good recovery as well, which kind of leans into me, my team recovering a lot of hit points, which is good. I really like Electro. He's really cool, but I don't think he's very good. Hela, I do really like. She has safe grab opportunity on the mid line. She can pressure the mid line with a Walk Army of Hell attack. That's decent because it's two rounds of some kind of damage. And then I like the vibes of the double claim soul. And then on the flip side, you can set up like unlosable game states. If you've got an extract on her and she's got Queen of Hell online, it can be near impossible for your opponent to get through because they basically have to one shot her twice if they only have two actions. You know, like if she has full health, you have to deal all four and then she heals to four and then you have to deal all four again. If you miss that one time, if you deal three, and then however much damage, that's only four. She full heals to four again. So I really like the states you can set up with that. Um, Other safe grab characters that fill the same box. Um, mm, mm. Wrecking Crew could do it. They've got the beam, which could be really cool actually. They've got the ability to put stagger. They come with a really nice tactics card, which can throw people really far away. They rotate well. And then with the medium, or are they large base? Short move plus bump, they can get to the mid line. Could be a little bit tricky with terrain, but I do think they're a really good shout as well. The push is guaranteed damage, which is always nice if you need to plink somebody off. Um, and the extra power, and they're not bad. There's Bill, I think I scrolled past him, but he can do the same thing. And then Valkyrie can do the same thing, where she's a large base, medium move. She's very fast. Where is she? She's down here somewhere. Valkyrie and Elendil. Um, they are pretty good. Yeah, that's seven dice attack on the midline round one. Which is pretty good. And they can rotate, they can move your opponents around or you move your teammate around. Just 6/6 though. I think I'm gonna take Hela because she is cool. The range 4 gun is good, six dice. She can buff her own dice with her claim soul tokens. And then I do like that potential for the end game where you can put her on this side with three claim souls and shut your opponent out. And then if I'm looking at my last character, if I look at who I've got, I think I want another five because at the moment I have a feeling that my 20 threat missions are going to be a little bit lacking. If I say I definitely want these two guys at 20 threat, um, I can bring two fours and a three, which can be any combination, or I can bring a seven and a four. I quite like that team. Two bits of displacement. Everyone's got some form of recovery and endurance. I quite like that. But I think having another five would open up a lot because I could then do, well, a different combination of a four and a five. Um, I think I'm gonna get, let's see my five threats. So I think I've got the safe grabs covered now. Even just semi-safe grabs with like Iron Fist. Cable can shoot the midline. potentially, and then him and Strange can stack defensive bubbles. That could be cool. Dracula has recovery, has bleeds, has the movement, the displacement with hypnotic stare. That's good. Um, Ghost Rider's affiliated but has no displacement. Oh, no, he's got his card, doesn't he? Potentially. King T obviously overpowered, but I like to play off meta if I can. I want to feel smart, you know. Juggernaut could be really cool, but I think the three energy might be a bit of an issue against Sentinel guns. That's an Adam Warlock there. The things that I'm sort of most afraid of, even like a cheeky Mephisto, I'm a little bit worried about. He could be good on my side. He has two power. He has ability to get up and safe grab stuff. Um, doesn't have any displacement though. Obviously, Red Skull can go and safe grab. I just think he's not going to be tanky enough. I think that given the chance the games might go 6 rounds, having models that can sustain and keep their health up. 2099 here has the throw, has the web whip. I really like the ignore stealth as well if I run into criminal matchups. So I think we're just going to chuck in 2099. That's my list of characters, Crisis, and then let's just get in some tactics cards. We can start off nice and easy. We're going to go Bats and Siege, really good. And then we're going to look at our restricted cards. I think fallback and sacrifice are the strongest two. Indom is really good if you're playing with a like a strange type piece, a big turret that you need to keep still. Patch up is good if you lack recovery, but I've got quite a lot of my team already. Brace I don't think is worth it anymore. It's only dodging 3 damage. Um, Potentially 1+3 if two characters if you're only being thrown together. But fallback can save you from an action from an enemy attack, and sacrifice can do the same. So these are basically both cards that just say -1 action for your opponents, which can be critical. I also think that the bump makes you a really good user of fallback. Then I like Warpath because movement is important. Um, I'm gonna put in Recal, just in case. Where is it? There it is. And then if I check over my characters, I'll see if I've got any character cards available. Strange has the beam, I think it's bad. Iron Fist, obviously great card there. Let's go heroes. What else do we have? Man Thing has a card. That could be kind of funny if I get 2 or 3 people clustered on a point, but I don't think I'll ever pull it. Hulk's card lets him do some very aggressive stuff round 1 on the midline, which is kind of why I'm bringing him. I think that's realistically all the cards I'm going to bring. So I actually think what I could do is I could set up a pivot. I could drop Hela for Shang, and I could make a little defenders pivot, couldn't I? Because if I put in Mystic Ward pentagrams, um, and then I look at my defenders, losing Hela means I'm losing out on recovery and heals, but Shang is very good. That's definitely an option. I'm just looking at any of the other 4 threats. Obviously, Echo or Hawkeye are really good if I want to start building that way and doing the defenders thing. I wonder if I drop. I mean, Voodoo's also great midline pressure. So kind of what I'm looking at is I've got my 4 threats for midline pressure, Hela and Voodoo. Obviously, I have to take Blade. Strange and Hulk are tanky control pieces, as well as Spider-Man 2099 if I want a good 20 threat. But I was kind of looking at, wasn't it my 20 threat was Hulk, Strange, and Blade +4. So maybe that 4 being a Shang-Chi makes sense. Just to get in, stagger people, and then it also gives me another form of activating. Let's bring him in. Let's take Hela out. Let's add Chi Mastery in. And then I need to make space. So Recal can go. I don't think that's very good. So now I've got two affiliated cards from each leadership. I've got, so then when am I pivoting defenders? When does that come up? In case I don't want to take blades and I want to do, if I'm into loads and loads of energy guns and I'm just going to get shot at, and I want to bring, I don't know, something like that as a core. I mean, IHOL was so good and Siege is so good. Gives me some wider options, doesn't it? That as a defenders team. No, I don't think I like that. So we can get rid of. I mean, it might scare people. Pentagrams is fun, but drop those. Don't hate having Shang-Chi in. Doesn't mean I've lost my second save grab. Because what's really nice is you can do Hela on one side, Voodoo on the other side, on something like a C map or on scrolls. You can threaten both sides. But then Moon Knight can threaten a bit as well. Not nearly as well, but he can threaten. Mm-mm-mm. It's that last four threat slot, isn't it? I mean, where's Valkyrie? My only hesitation about Valkyrie, she can't heal herself. While she's very mobile, which I like, and she's got good damage and dealing damage equal to defender's threat can be really good. Hit stagger is good. She's got action compression. Yeah, she does have recovery. All right. I'm hesitant as well because I don't own Valkyrie, but I'm going to put her in, and we'll see if we can find a Valkyrie before the weekend. See if someone's got one to loan out. So that looks like the team more or less. Just need to refill those cards. Does Valk have a Valkyrie card? What does this do? It's 3 power. You can move and throw something. That's terrible. For a tactics card, it's not good enough, is it? And that's Asgard affiliated. Well, it's a very good card. So 2099 has a card, doesn't he? Lets me discount his spender and add some dice. I don't think that's worth it because he's suffering damage as well, and I want to stay alive. I'm gonna add some of these strange cards. I don't think I'll ever use them, but they're fun to have. This one you can place on an enemy character. I didn't realize this for a long time. You can place on an enemy character, and because Strange is doing the rerolls, it gives you reroll skulls on all your attacks. So that could be quite interesting. And then the beam, it's fun. I don't think I'll ever use it, but that's fun as well. And then we can put back in Recal. And that is a team. So we've got some midline pressure. We've got some big attacks. We're a little bit low on recovery on our four threats. Our four threat slots are all quite squishy. So we're going to keep that in mind. But I think we should be okay because our fives are both very tanky. Our threes all have decent survivability. And then we've got obviously Immortal Hulk, who is immortal. So they say. Um, yeah, if you guys give me a lot of love, likes and stuff on this video, I might do a little tournament report afterwards. But as it stands, that is the list. I hope you've enjoyed it. This was some good lunchtime or poo time content, and I will catch up with you guys another time. See you later.